Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about the Matthew Stafford trade to the Rams and how that impacts the Jets with DeShaun Watson and Sam Darnold. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary and why. If you haven't already, please check out the podcast and link to the merch down in the description below. All right, so there was a blockbuster trade in the NFL last night as Matthew Stafford was traded from the Lions to the Rams for Jared Goff, 2 first-round picks, and a third. And that sounds like a lot on paper. You're moving a quarterback and getting another quarterback, 2 firsts and a third, but I'm going to break down why it actually isn't more than originally anticipated for Matthew Stafford. And unfortunately, spoiler alert, it doesn't really make much of a difference for the New York Jets with Deshaun Watson or Sam Darnold. So yes, it looks like the Rams gave up a lot to get Matthew Stafford, but it was also giving up a lot to get rid of Jared Goff's contract. You see, the Lions still owe Goff $43 million after trading for him. So he'll be on the roster in 2021. They can't cut him. It would be a huge dead cap number. It would cost him a ton of money against the salary cap if they decided to cut him. So it's not like a Brock Osweiler situation. They have to have him on the roster in 2021. So from the Rams' perspective, they were trading for Stafford, which was probably your first and maybe that third round pick as well. And in order to get rid of Jared Goff, they had to give another first round pick with it. That's how tough of a contract it is to move for the Rams. That's how badly they wanted to get out of the Jared Goff contract. So unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, whether it's trying to get more value for Sam Darnold or from the Texans' perspective, trying to fleece a team. Because I saw on Twitter, it's like, well, what is DeShaun Watson worth? Is he worth 6 first-round picks now that Stafford's worth Goff 2 firsts and a third? Well, hold on. We got to look at the entire context of the trade. That's not how it works. That's not how the salary cap works. You got to understand that in order to move a contract like Jared Goff, you have to give something along with it. So that's probably where one of the first round picks came from. And then in order just to acquire Stafford, it was probably the first and a third, which that makes a little bit more sense. Now, why are the Lions willing to take on Jared Goff's contract? Well, just for that reason, an additional first round pick. This team is definitely going into a rebuild. And with the contract they just gave to Campbell, like they're in this for the long haul. This is probably going to be a break it down for 1 or 2 year kind of situation. Like there's a really good chance this is the worst team in football next year. And then try to rebuild it back up from there. Because he got, I believe, a 5 or 6 year contract to take over this team. So he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. That's for sure. So maybe with Goff, they're going to have him on the roster this year. They can get out of it after this year. It still costs them against the cap a little bit. They'll save maybe like $10 million or so if they cut him, but it would still, the dead cap number I believe is $15 million. If they hold him on the roster for 2 years, they can get out of it with 0 dead cap. So this might be a long rebuild for the Detroit Lions. Now we'll talk Watson first. Obviously, teams see that, the 2 first rounders and a third round pick and a starting quarterback for Stafford. What's it going to be? Like I said, the 6 first round picks. Well, a player like him probably could be worth 6 first-round picks. He's not going for 6 first-round picks, though. I'm still saying it's going to be the 3 first-round picks, and you could probably still get him for the Jets 2 this year, 1 next year, 1 in each next 3 years. However you want to do it and spread it out, it's probably going to be somewhere around 3 first-round picks. As I look at it from the Texans' point of view, I don't think there is a comparable trade or a trade that's going to equal the value of a 25-year-old franchise quarterback. So I personally wouldn't do it, but if you have to move him, it's probably going to be something like for the 3 first rounders, like most people have been talking about for a long time, and then maybe a later round pick swap, something like that. But it's not going to take a starting quarterback and 5 first rounders on top of that. This is the salary cap implications. That's why it took so much in order for the Rams to move Jared Goff and acquire Matthew Stafford on top of that. And unfortunately, I don't think you're getting that first round pick for Sam Darnold. I don't think it's, oh my God, his value went up from a second. Now he's going to be a first and maybe another pick. No, pump the brakes. Again, you're probably getting a second. Maybe it's a second and a fifth like the Josh Rosen trade from a few years ago. I don't really think this makes much of a difference for the New York Jets. I know that's boring. It's not a hot take. It's not anything like that. But people have seen this trade, and the NFL world went wild, and it's totally justified. It's very rare that you see a quarterback of that caliber get traded. Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but let's be honest here. Jared Goff is nowhere in the same stratosphere as Matthew Stafford. He has a really bad contract, and he's getting paid like an elite level quarterback, and he's not. He's maybe a bottom tier starter. You would put him in maybe like the 20th best quarterback in the league, and he's getting paid like a top 5, top 10 quarterback, which just isn't the case. So the Rams decide to move him, a couple of first-round picks, a third-round pick on top of that, and get Stafford. The crazy thing about this trade, the Rams have not had a first-round pick since they drafted Jared Goff in 2016, and they won't have one to 2024. So they are going all in, and it's worked for them so far. We'll see if it continues to work. I think Stafford's going to be phenomenal in that offense with Sean McVay. I think it's a massive upgrade, and I absolutely think that in a wide open conference like the NFC, they are definitely contenders to get back to the Super Bowl. So I like this trade for them. For the Lions, I guess getting on a couple of first round picks is really nice. I don't think you were getting 2 first-round picks for Stafford unless you were taking on that bad a contract. So I guess if you look at it that way, it could be a potential win for both sides, but we'll have to see how this one plays out. Unfortunately, I don't think it has much of an impact for DeShaun Watson and the Jets scenario and going to trade for him, or Sam Darnold. I don't think his value is going up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below or on social media. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.